this final game. Jamada with an interesting statement there saying he hopes that cooler heads prevail. There are some very decidedly not cool heads on the Rift on both rosters here. Dplus Kia, along with a number of other rosters in the LCK, do love a circus every now and then. And when it works, it's fantastic. When it doesn't, your 3-in-1 Tristana, your Poppy jungle really struggling to go something like 3-in-7 top, 0-6 in the jungle. Not a great place there. BLG again, when you've got players like On, when you've got players like Bin, there is a certain volatility that comes with the playstyle. We'll see whether some measure of calm can come into this deciding final game.
But the LPL need BLG to make it through this because AGAL, anyone's legend, just lost to KC. They just got knocked out here at EWC 2026. Their key crushed.
Huge.
So BLG is the LPL's last hope. They need to win this 2-1 for the LPL.
And holy moly, Carmine Corps in Paris going forwards. That's a match made in heaven. Should be very exciting indeed. But we turn our eyes to this B stream and I can see all the fans beginning to migrate over from the STC Arena here to the Kiddiet City Battleground. It is rammed from wall to wall. Syndra first pick. Likely for ShowMaker, could go bot. The Syndra's been flexible right now. The response is a Rumble plus something.
I'm loving seeing the Syndra come through here as well because that is a powerful mage that can go in the bot or the mid side. We really want to see it put in some work, but we've also got that Rumble and that Bard. Bard, such a powerful playmaking support these days.
And On is probably the best Bard in the LPL. He is very, very potent on this champion. His roaming in particular, I could highlight any number of games I've cast of this guy popping off on the champion, really, really riding that line incredibly well. See what he can do here to protect and make some plays here, especially with things like the Camille off the board that has felt like the significant answer into that chime-wielding warrior. That's the phrase I've gone with. It feels a bit excessive, but here we are. The response, though, Lucian Milio looking like the correct choice.
Yeah, Lucian Milio is definitely a duo that has risen because previously it was Lucian Nami, but with that Imperial Mandate buff, Nami has kind of fallen by the wayside, and that range extension that Milio can provide works very, very well for Lucian. So loving this bot side duo as we do see Caitlyn locked in for Viper on BLG, that long-range powerhouse, almost the epitome of what an AD carry should be. And we're familiar with this champion, right? We've seen Pays with it when he duos with Lux. I think there's something like a 18-0 run with him in the area. It's wild. And I'm hoping we get to see that same kind of energy out of Viper and On, especially if the Bard is on point today.
Indeed, and often what happens with Viper lanes at the minute is they do it. If you remember when Gumayusi was on T1, which I suspect a lot of people do, a lot of what you see was when Guma would lock the Caitlyn, rather than always playing for lane, Kerry would sometimes go, cool, you've got this, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And would on things like the Bard go make plays elsewhere.
Yep.
And On loves to do very similar things with Viper. You can play for the 2v2 kills. Obviously, that combo of stun into trap, into headshot is a deadly one for certain. But potentially being able to play towards, say, a Rumble, play towards wherever Shun is, can also be very potent indeed, especially because the Milio can get a little obnoxious to land those stun combos on when you have that 6 available and the Breath of Life gets you out of dodge.
A couple of bans coming through that I absolutely love here, right? So Dplus Kia, they've gone for the mid lane. They've gone for the LeBlanc. They've gone for the Akali, right? Because they know Knight is a monster in this mid lane, and we have seen Knight on Akali before. He has performed miracles, heretofore untold, and Dplus Kia do not want to see that again. And on the opposite side, BLG have banned away that Trundle. They don't want that Subjugate affecting their side. They've banned away that Ornn, that monstrous scaling topsider that I dare say Bin would feel more than comfortable even if he weak-sided that, because he's not playing for the lane, he's playing for the team, he's playing for the late game.
They lock in Shun's Pantheon, another global to potentially go running around with things like that Bard, making those plays. It's a champion that's fallen away from the absolute apex of the meta, but once you start getting deeper into these best of series, is more than potent, and certainly something that Shun is accomplished and experienced on. Xin Zhao would make an apt response. I will also note, though, that Bin has what I used to call Red 5, the Luke Skywalker pick. It's on blue this time around, of course, because that inversion of first pick and side selection has come across in this one. But what it does do is theoretically give a counter pick up here to Knight in particular. They're waiting to see the draft to ensure that the champion he locks in is exactly what BLG need to win this draft.
Fun fact about Xin Xiao, I was looking him up before we came to EWC 2026. He is the single most picked jungler across every single region combined to date.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
He's been so strong, so competitive, so versatile for such a long time. He has finally been nerfed somewhat, but there's the Aurora last pick for Dplus Kia, likely throwing that towards the top lane for Siwoo into the Aurora, but that's then allowed Knight to pick up a Silas. I am seeing a couple decent ults here. The Shinzo ult in particular, very, very strong alongside that Aurora ult.
Yeah, that Crescent Guard is such a fantastic ultimate to steal. You can start fights, you can defend your team in those fights with it as well. Aurora's ultimate, no slouch to grab either, gives you a lot of mobility, a lot of chase down. I don't think we'll be seeing him pick up the culling though, unless there's no sort of other better ults in the fight at the time.
And I sometimes see that it's a Syndra picked into the Silas, because stealing Syndra ult is kind of a bit lackluster as well, because you don't get to put down extra dark spheres.
Yep.
It's base numbers of spheres every time you press the R button.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, you know, a couple of decent ultimates, but also a couple of ultimates that are less than ideal to grab here. But both compositions are locked in, and I'm really looking forward to how this one turns out, because game one, you know, it was a very resilient win from Dplus Kia to get ahead of BLG. Game two, Dplus Kia came out kicking and screaming, but BLG, they turned it back around. They got the advantages, they got the objectives, they exhibited the readiness and the resilience that was needed to take that game two, which has put us here, in this position, right here, right now, at EWC 2026 Kadia City Battleground, our game three of our best of three. Loser goes home and their key is crushed.
To the Rift we go for the final time between these two teams. The crowd has continued to grow, to swell, and to surge. It is electric here, and both these teams will be feeling the pressure, no doubt about it. We've heard the gyos, we've heard the fightings. LPL versus LCK, a rivalry as old as League of Legends, has another chapter here.
Here at EW6 2026. We do see that ward they'll go down though, so it will spot Knight out as he starts to step forward. DK aware, respecting it and backing away. Knight sees them backing away and with that intuition goes, no, they've seen me. I've walked over a ward. They know my game, but he's going to get back to that mid lane and he's not going to have lost any experience for it. Just a little bit of advantage over to ShowMaker with the range that he has. Sees Knight stepping up and goes to just push him off the wave. And that's another thing we need to point out. This is a melee into range matchup. Range will have the early game advantage, but it's easy for Knight to come back into this fight, and our junglers have started on opposite sides of the rift.
That they have. We can see Shun pathing towards his top side. Of course, on the other side, Shinzo pathing towards that bot lane to try and interrupt and mess potentially with that Caitlyn and with that Bard. Viper and On have got the early shove. Not really a surprise considering the matchup, but again, the Lucian Milio has been very potent over the last few patches in particular, and I'm sure that Smash and Korea will have a few things to say about this shove in a level or two.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we do find ourselves in a situation where we're only a minute and a half in, and On is already looking, dare I say, for that level 2 roam. He was moving around, has cleared that ward out, and is just trying to make sure that the vision control favors BLG here on that blue side. Siwoo getting a little bit of early poke on the bin.
Worth noting here as well, look at Shun, has done his bot side quadrant, is now going into the enemy jungle to try and steal away a comp and potentially look for some bot side advantages.
Yeah, Shun in a great position here too if he's able to get this quick enough.
Smash at the level 2, will look to dash on forward with the Relentless Pursuit. Viper taken low but not down, does have the barrier traded, gets a nice build of a Peacemaker back. Reminder that the Pantheon is still here. Smash in danger, this needs to be a good kick. Flash away, and the Comet Spear secures first blood.
And that was that early rotation from Shun that you pointed out. He was in a great position to take advantage of this bot side play. He had the priority, he was always going to get there before Lucid can do anything, even though Lucid was nipping at his heels. So great work there. They got the barrier, they got the flash, and they got the life of the AD carry of Dplus Kia in Smash.
Reset now from Shun, got that first blood, gets a longsword and a ruby crystal to his name. Knight left alone with him chunked out. Potentially makes contesting for this topside scuttle crab a risk here from Shun. He's still going to blast going in and look to fight it regardless. Remember, he has got the item advantage, and now Lucid might actually be in a spot of bother, especially with Bin with priority.
Yeah, Lucid running away from that mid lane, that scuttle crab there. I thought he was maybe going to try and turn something back around onto Bin because it was around a 50% health differential here for both of them. But instead, he decides better of it, goes, I'm going to recall back to base and top up my life. Pick up that health stone there too. That little extra bit of health for him. So he's able to trade a bit better, but still questionable plays here. 3.5 minutes in, 1.5 minutes to that first Drake of the game. It will be that Hex Tech Drake as well. As we go to this bot side replay, DK are aggressing forward here. They're trading well, but Smash, unable to avoid that pilt over Peacemaker, takes up too much damage. Flash for flash, not enough, as Shun with the spear takes Smash's life.
Really nice, and again, that's off the early play. Lucid, though, with a wraparound gank, gets the flash off of Knight, who's just TP'd back in.
Yeah, ShowMaker getting that ward down just in the face of Knight. Will ping it, doesn't get the auto off, so that's a healthy ward in the mid lane. Advantage, ShowMaker. But something else that's advantage to ShowMaker right now is the gold, is the CS. Has picked up that Amp Tome, so a nice little extra chunk of damage over what Knight has to offer. However, the biggest gold advantage right now, 600 of it, is on Shun from that first blood with that extra bounty. He's 600 of the 600 that BLG have.
Always miserable there to sit under the turret versus the Caitlyn, especially when she starts to put down those Yordle snap traps and kind of block off either side of the turret. Can be a bit annoying for a Lucian who wants to get a good piercing light across. Nice work there from Korea to remove them pretty swiftly and mitigate some of that obnoxiousness. But Shun is back again. BLG playing around bot side, say it ain't so.
Well, they know that Smash doesn't have a flash. If they go in on Smash, who's less than 50% health already, they now know that Shun is here, then there's nothing he can do to get away. However, Shun himself, because he committed his flash, is unable to dive in after him, so we'll just back away.
And look, it's a relatively slow early game, though I'll say again, these invades, the early play bot side, nice proactivity from BLG, but one of their weaknesses as a roster of late has been their inability to play through that bot side, play for Viper. Shun playing so aggressively towards him across this series in general, and certainly in this game, has been a little bit of a different look for the team that often likes to take their support, their jungler, and look towards, say, Bin or Knight.
Yeah, but this proactivity coming out of Shun is really, really good because it's also forcing a response from Lucid, right? Lucid is being pulled away from his jungle camps. He has to answer the aggression of Shun, which means Shun is able to run him around the rift. Bin playing on vision here. Siwoo knows he's there, playing very carefully. Doesn't want to get burnt alive by Bin and this equalizer, but we take a look at the vision, right? We see that Dplus Kia, they've got that control ward near that Hex Tech Drake because it's the first Drake of the game. It hasn't been taken. Good equalizer. Obviously a wave clearing. It's a bonus, though, to get extra damage onto Siwoo. A little extra pressure.
Well, with Bin having been down the teleport, it does allow him to reset and not have to worry so much about the wave being in a problematic position. Will bounce back as he arrives at the turret, so we'll be happy enough with that. In the river, though, on in danger, has that mark atop him, but won't have an audacious charge to deal with, and Lucid should pick up this scuttle crab.
Yeah, just pokes on away, gets that priority, able to pick up that scuttle crab tidily. The XP is worth it from those scuttle crabs because it almost gets you to that level 6, which is why double scuttle is so important because it gives you that level advantage when those jungle objective fights break out. But that is not to be here, as we do see that, you know, Lucid is rotating around to that top side, but I don't see a scuttle crab sitting in that river just yet. Dplus Kia, vision control on that bot side around the Drake pit, but there's also a control ward from BLG. So both sides here valuing vision and information, but not quite ready to pull the trigger on the Drake because the grubs are up in 1 minute. And that's something that we've been seeing more of, right? More teams are going for the grubs first, trade for Drake, rather than giving that 2 to 3 minute window of opportunity for them to be able to contest.
Completely agree. And of course, as we just look at the game state in general, been a relatively slow one, not super aggressive. Hell, there's a bit of damage from Viper. Gets a nice trade there, the ace in the hole, after body block by Korea, especially as that cozy campfire shield and the warm hugs, rather, shield would have timed out.
Korea says, "Smash, get down, I will protect you," and takes that ace in the hole quite nicely. That is the support that you want in your games. Like we saw a little earlier when that Nautilus was blocking all of those skill shots onto that Lee Sin there. It was spectacular, and it just keeps those AD carries healthy. It keeps them alive, or in that case, your jungler as well. But we are talking about about BLG versus DK. We are talking about a Game 3 of a best-of-3 series that has gone the distance. We are talking about if you lose, your key gets crushed and you are knocked out of EWC 2026, and neither of teams want this. BLG, LPL's last hope here.
And on the other side, Dplus Kia, team that in some ways has been a bit of a surprise to make it in some ways. Their form domestically has been so inconsistent. Lucid and Siwoo sometimes incredibly high, sometimes incredibly low. ShowMaker on good form here as well, looking to take it to the likes of Knight if they can make it happen. Is up a good CS margin here. Dragon being started. BLG though, thinking of contesting. Shun with the ult could look to come on in. Stolen Shinzao ult. Dragon taken, but unfortunately for Lucid, a Crescent Guard will not keep you alive, and he'll trade the Dragon for his life.
And that's the thing I like about the Pantheon ult and the Crescent Guard interaction. All the play's still going.
Smash does have to flash away from that binding from on, and that'll get something extra out for BLG.
A very respectful flash, because if that stun had landed, that was built over Peacemakers, that was your little snap traps, that was an ace in the hole, and you would have been dead. So that speaks to the experience and expertise of these players, but I wanted to talk about that interaction with Pantheon and Xinjiao, right? Depending on who pulls the ultimate first is how the interaction pans out. If you Pantheon ult in and then Xinjiao repels you, happy days. But if you Xinjiao Crescent Guard and then the Panth ult comes through, unfortunately, that does not work in your favor. Yeah, you go.
About to say, the Dragon still went the way, of course, of DK. Still see the grubs towards BLG, and they've got that 1,000 gold lead. But again, one of the things we've seen across the first two games was attempting to get that lead to snowball beyond 1 to 2,000 has been a challenge.
Like you say, 1,000 gold lead, but the grub's still up. That is that second jungle objective. The next Drake, 3.5 minutes away, because it was just taken. A lot of vision control happening around here, but Shun is where all of the gold advantage is for BLG. Both kills to his name. On a couple of assists, Viper with the one there, but look at the CS advantages. ShowMaker still pulling away from Knight there, 20 CS, and that's what you would expect with that range in the melee matchup. Viper though, 10 CS up over Smash. So both teams are winning in different lanes. Different win conditions are coming online. As we go to this replay, that beautiful Pantheon ult from the bush, it wasn't on any kind of vision, straight into the midst of DK. Nothing they could do to stop that from happening.
And I do love our observers giving us some of these cinematic outros. It's cool to see that. Have some fun with it indeed. And it's a nice moment there from Shun, who does get that kill. Of course, it's still the Dragon from DK, so don't hit too much. That is a good tempered fate, though. Shun's around. ShowMaker, clutch. Flash.
Absolutely. We saw the vision, the tempered fate to lock down ShowMaker. Shun was going to go in with that stun, but ShowMaker's flash, instantaneous, prevents the play and definitely saves his own life there. But now, ShowMaker critically, no flash for 5 minutes. He's a very immobile mage.
And all the while reminded, while that Dragon fight was happening, Shun was on the grubs. So actually now he goes and finishes them up, gets that third one. Bin potentially in danger here as he's overheated and stunned up, teleporting out to safety. No CC from Siwoo.
I'm sorry, that was brilliant, because he knows there's no CC, right? So the moment that comes through, he's like, I'm going to TP out of here. You don't have the damage to finish me. You've just comboed off. I'm A-okay. These are the kinds of plays that make and break fights, and this is why he's earned himself the nickname Giga Bin, because it's just these creative plays, these different angles that you just do not expect that change how it plays out. But Lucid trying to invade on the jungle here. On will spot it out and try and repel them.
There's the smite away, and Lucid gets that one at the very least. Still a gold lead, and the teleport behind. Hang on, DK. This might get a bit spicy. It's the Silas coming on in. On over the wall with the magical journey. Shun here. You don't pull the trigger too much further, and that'll be DK able to get out. BLG looking for a little something, but can't quite find a kill or a pick.
Yeah, the timing just a little bit off there from BLG. I like the call, I like the initiative, the proactivity to try and get that team fight in that mid lane, because they know ShowMaker didn't have the flash either. But DK playing respectfully, they've just backed away and there was nothing left for BLG to get. Has been trading into Siwoo on this top side.
That they are. Lucid on his Krugs, overcomes Knight, looking for damage. That's big blast cone away. Tempered Fate means the scout of the week does nothing. ShowMaker no flash, but wait, Knight super deep. Needs to potentially turn this around and go Shun with that W. Buys some time, the magical journey out. DK defend, and now actually maybe can run at BLG, who've gone very deep to make this attempt on ShowMaker's life.
No, Viper's here as well. It's a numbers advantage over to BLG if DK keep pushing forward, but I think they're happy with that. So many resources committed his career there, just trying to offset the tempo recall from Knight, but a great sequence of plays from both teams. The numbers were there, the ultimates were there, but they were just able to juggle their health bars. ShowMaker and Knight both went golden at the same time because of that Tempered Fate coming through from On, which bought DK the time to set up, robbing the initiative from BLG.
Gold in the bot lane is near even. 91 to Viper is hardly anything to speak about at this point. Interrupt there onto ShowMaker as he was looking to reset, is still farming well, and again, Syndra is so potent, it feels like right now, and ShowMaker over the years, how many incredible Syndra games have we seen from this man? So
many, and when you get to that 100 charge, you get that execute, it comes online, you become so much deadlier as the next Drake of the game. Our second Drake has spawned here at the 13-minute mark with the Rift Herald a mere minute away. This game, after those 2 kills in the early, has stayed so close. DK not willing to give over any gold, any objectives, any kills. BLG hunting, fishing, poking, trying to find a weakness in the defense that DK is putting up right now, but DK, they know this is the last effort. They have to win.
Dragon is alive, 50 seconds on Herald. Lucid in the river first, but On and Viper currently tussling with Smash and Korea over vision control. You can see Knight has made the roam up through the river.
Yeah, look, a river is a great place to roam as well. Wide open spaces, a little bit of water, just something to refresh, a bit of play happening.
Tempered Fate on both! Bilibili Gaming, the traps are there! It's sprung! And the bot lane collapses from Dplus Kia.
BLG found their angle, but they're not done yet.
Lucid in danger. The Crescent Guard gets him out to safety. Alas, the same is not true from Smash and Korea. The crowd begins to erupt behind them. The BLG fans smell blood in the water.
On with the Tempered Fate on 2 to start it all off. Viper with the follow-up on the snap traps to get the lockdown. Knight responded as well. A fantastic sequence of plays coming out of Bilibili Gaming to get themselves a priority on the Drake.
The thing is, though, they take so much damage doing it that despite the numbers advantage, they don't feel confident sticking around. They still get the Dragon. Dplus Kia find a silver lining.
Yeah, silver linings are better than no linings, that's for sure. I would like that, please, and thank you very much. They are on their second Drake. Their Dragon stacking has begun. It's that Hex Tech, it's that Cloud, so a little extra movement soul, but it will be an Infernal Soul, which I have to imagine that Smash on that Lucian will value so heavily. But Viper on the other side would also value that equally, that extra chip, that extra poke. But let's take a quick look at the vision control here because it looks like a fight's about to break out around the Rift Herald. DK, they've got some vision, but BLG, they're here first.
With that reset after the double picks and the fact they didn't contest that Dragon means they can come up to contest this Herald instead. ShowMaker is on vision and is now in danger. Does have the flash, maybe has to burn it. The Cosmic Binding, the Rocket Belt in, the Ace in the hole, and Knight claims a scalp.
And that's the vision I was about to talk about up in that top lane. ShowMaker, unaware, was trying to be patient about it, but we go back to this replay and here's the beautiful Tempered Fate. Unfortunately, unable to get out of that one. The snap traps, Knight is there, Viper is there. It's 4v dead, and they take the fight convincingly, but we're still not done.
Tempered Fate land onto Korea, but they didn't manage to quite get the trap underneath him. Arm on over the wall. The Locket keeps him alive, but elsewhere, Siwoo with the solo kill on Bin. Out through the magical journey goes Lucid, gets trapped, gets stunned pretty low, but not taken out. Shun is on top of Siwoo, trying to get some vengeance for his top laner. A smite and a Comet Spear. Ensure it's a 1-for-1.
Yeah, Shun able to get Siwoo back. That is DK finally on the board with kills there too. Siwoo getting the better of Bin, but Bin did enough damage that Shun was like, you know what, I'm going to commit my ult. I'm going to go down there and get that kill because the rest of BLG were able to take that fight with the team fight that DK put together, and we'll see this one again. Bin just wanted to clear a ward out, but Siwoo saw the angle, saw the opportunity, and look at the health difference here. Siwoo is still sub 50%, chipping away, poking away at Bin, and in this extended fight, even eats an equalizer to boot, flashes away.
Oh.
Bin just feeling so confident he gets comboed under the turret. down he goes.
Bin giveth, bin taketh away. We've seen a little bit of that from both our top laners this series. Bin and Siwoo have had very high highs and a few lows to go with them. Make no bones about that one. Knight does get that bot lane tier 1 as we come out of the replay, and BLG now find themselves up 4.1 thousand gold. That's a lot more meaningful.
Yeah, and at 17 minutes, it is significant. Both objectives will be coming back up and around the same time in around 2 minutes here as well, so there's a bit of a split play that could possibly come up here. Oh, yeah,
ShowMaker does manage to force of will away that red buff, but the smite is a little early. That does mean, however, that BLG still don't secure it.
Yeah, good job there, Syndra being able to use that to pull the red buff away. But we look at the CS, Bin has some lead. We see ShowMaker still up, but Viper up over Smash, so he's definitely caught up, has that 1.2k gold lead, as does Knight, as does Shun. So it's gold leads abound here for BLG, except in that top lane where Siwoo was able to secure that 1 kill onto Bin.
You can see all of those gold leads, Viper, Knight and Shun leading the way by significant margins. They're in fantastic positions. I think Viper as well with that BF sword and that pickaxe in inventory can't be miles away from an Infinity Edge, especially considering Smash has already completed his. I'll note, however, that Viper has gotten the steel caps as the Caitlyn, where it's just brown bags right now for Smash.
Yeah, that's it. And the Essence Reaver and Navoro Flickerblade are a little bit cheaper than an Infinity Edge Hex Optics as well. So that's why it's going to take Viper a little bit longer, despite having that 1.1k gold advantage. And like you said, completed boots versus not completed boots. On looking for more.
Doesn't throw the Tempered Fate. Was trying to see whether someone overstepped. Won't happen. Minute until Dragon and Smash in Korea manage to hold their nerve, and BLG don't decide to pull the trigger.
That's it. Both teams have 4 flashes on either side as well, so there's so much mobility, so much movement. Surely they want to try and fish it.
The abscond, the abduct, and ShowMaker has to scatter. Just about keeps himself alive. Knight smells a kill there and can't quite get what he was looking for.
Well played by ShowMaker to live there, but such a fantastic angle from Knight. The patience, he saw ShowMaker alone and was like, I can take you 1v1, and he very nearly did if it wasn't for that stun coming through. But we're back to normalcy somewhat. We've got the Baron up in 15 seconds, the third Drake of the game in 30. So which team will go for what objective? I have to imagine DK will go for that Drake to try and get their third and get on to Soul Point. Because if you can get that Soul, that Infernal, you have a win condition online. Your damage is serious, almost exponentially improved, increased here.
Is going to have to go through the tier 1 here. Rocket Belt's away to drop some turret aggro. Knight looking for it, but they are therefore giving up this Dragon. Likely Knight flashes in, looking for the Abscond of Dark to get some damage down. That's good from the side of Siwoo. Knight left low, but not down. Keeps trying to heal. The Between Worlds is there. Across the Veil as well. Abscond of Dark to the Kingmaker. Tries to make this work. This is a bad work from Siwoo at all. The 1v1, though, eventually goes the way of BLG's mids.
I feel like Siwoo did a great job there. Bin goes in. Equalizer dropped.
On to Lucid of all job people as well. The jungler left at about half. Slight fumble of my words, but Lucid just about survives is the gist of it. Yeah. Towards the Dragon, though, go BLG.
That's it. They get that priority because they're able to poke the jungler of DK away. So they're going to be able to slow down DK's Dragon stacking here. They take the third Drake of the game, which is also an Infernal. But look at the damage as well. Siwoo putting in so much work at 14.5k.
Lucid again, just threatened a little more, won't quite go down. Smash does try to go forwards there with a relentless pursuit. Flash in from On, gets the stun. Damage onto Lucid! And the jungler's dead. Korea now in danger. Knight over the wall, the Abscond, the Abduct. The damage keeps rolling. Scattered back, just about surviving a ShowMaker. The damage can't quite be found. And they'll lose their mid-tier 1, but it's only the one member for Dplus Kia, but everyone else on blinking health bars. Baron alive, but I don't think BLG feel quite that bold.
BLG take the life of Lucid and they take the mid-tier 1, so still a great fight for them, even if they didn't get everything that they wanted. Bin looking for an angle onto Siwoo here, having to play respectfully. But importantly, when that fight broke out, it was a 5v4. Siwoo was still dead from the previous fight over on the top side of BLG when Knight solo boloed him here. Siwoo just trying to clear some waves out, and the next objective still on the Rift is that Baron.
Soul Point denied, gold lead extended. No turret still for Dplus Kia. This map is
this
so
maneira
frustrating for them to walk through, especially now that BLG with this Bard, with this Pantheon, can just turn up from very odd angles with magical journeys and tempered fates and grand starfalls to boot.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of playmaking ability on the side of Bilibili Gaming here. And we do take a look at the gold bounties that are up. Shun nearly 700, Knight 400, Viper 300. So these guys, there's a lot of standing gold. Shun is 5-0-1 right now and is matching the CS of Lucid too. Lucid, unfortunately, has died twice. So he has the Sundered and the Black Cleavers, but that's it. He hasn't completed his boots and he's half an item behind Shun. So there's a lot of power there in that Pantheon.
He's currently 2 levels behind as well. A camp should make that just the 1, but it's still not a great space to be in.
Yeah, Knight also having that half-level advantage over ShowMaker right now. Almost everybody except the supports are on their 2nd level of their ultimates, so the poke coming through is dangerous. Shadow Flame collected for Siwoo there as well. That could be a one-shot combo if they can find a fantastic angle.
Yeah, not quite the level 16 where the ult gets a bit stronger. Worth noting as well, ShowMaker 2 stacks away of those Splinters of Wrath from that 100, and therefore the execute on the unleashed power. Maybe that can be a difference maker here.
We're fighting over the red buff again.
Syndra is over by tier 2, so she can't pull it away this time. But Lucid secures it nonetheless.
I was looking for that. I'm like, I don't see ShowMaker. There's no way they're going to pull that buff away. But they bring the numbers and they get the red buff, which is now on Lucian. But they've got so much vision around the backside of this Baron pit. BLG has at least 4 wards in here. DK, they know it though. They're moving in to clear this vision out. So BLG have no information when they go for that Baron. We do see Knight though. He's lurking patiently, might be looking for another play on the ShowMaker.
He has been trying to find these ambush moments from the bushes, from other spots, been very active on the map, down some CS, but still up in the gold, having been pretty active in general.
Yeah.
Half until Infernal Dragon.
I'm loving this game. We're 24 minutes in. It's a 6.5k gold lead to BLG. DK go in.
On's in danger, gets knocked up and immediately blasted. Signs of life.
On is wiped away from the face of the rift, but it's only a support. We've got Knight on the top side pushing in against that top side tier 2. DK forced to respond despite having that numbers advantage. There's no objective for them to go for on that bot side.
We've been too risky to go towards that Baron. I guess the tier 2 falls, so in the end it sort of becomes on for Baron. Lucid thinks about staying on the Gromp because I don't know about that. Too dark and too dangerous when it's full of Shun and Bin. Siwoo still in this top side, bot side rather, clearing away that wave, should be safe.
The rift is dark and full of horrors, and Lucid is gonna respect that one. He walks out of there, and Dallasly with his life, because Bin and Shun, they were there. They were ready to go after this jungler because the timing is great. With that Drake up in 45 seconds, now is the time you want to get those flashes. Now is the time you want to kill the enemy jungler and give yourself that key advantage in these objective fights. Baron's still up at the 25th minute though. No one looking for it.
I'm not seeing third items yet for BLG, and that means this is probably about as playable as it gets for Dplus Kia in an even game state, assuming no mistakes. There is still Soul Point available if Dplus Kia can get this, but they will need to secure it now, and they may just say, look, we can afford to give this one up and play to scale a little. ShowMaker over that 100 stack.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, tempered fake.
That's the one. Lucid left golden, not taken out. They don't full send. Look at Knight, though, on the flank angle. Yet to pull the trigger. Dplus Kia unaware right now of the Silas, thinking about coming from the flank angle.
Yeah, Knight does have a fantastic flanking angle. They've got wards down the DK. See him coming.
Smash slides away. Good relentless pursuit to escape. Flank dissuaded.
Yeah, there's a 1v1 happening on the bot side at the same time, though. Siwoo and Bin looking to try and tussle, get some advantage here. Cullen goes
down.
out.
On's left low, but not down, surviving for now, but it's 5% HP if that Dplus Kia. Maybe that's enough. They're in the river.
It feels like any fight could go any way here, and if you win, I know we're 26 minutes in, but it feels like it would decide the game because of the way these two are tussling, the way these two are fighting, conserving their gold for these items. ZK Smash, he's trying to push in, get some priority there. First to the Drake here. They've got the vision control and in the position.
6,000 gold down, but with On sent back, it feels like Dplus Kia might have an angle. A narrow one perhaps, but it's there. Dplus Kia waiting in that bush, seeing where the Knight face checks. He's got a Breath of Life to immune some of the CC. Dragon down to 3,000.
There's so many layers to this fight. There's players everywhere.
Oh, it's taken by the Syndra scout of the week. That gets Soul Point, but the fight after a danger. Lucid just about to survive it now. Flashing from on the conquest, get the kill. And they get out alive.
The great heist of EWC 2026 just happened before our eyes. DK, they get the third Drake. They are on Soul Point and they get away with their lives. It only cost an ultimate and a flash. You've got to be happy with that. But the Baron is up for the taking. Surely BLG want to look for this.
They've certainly rotated a few members over for DK though. Soul Point secured. Can they survive another 4.5 minutes? Can they pull off the game one again? It's a bigger gold lead they're up against. It's a more frustrating team, I would argue, in the later stages to manage, but the hope stays alive. The game isn't done. The fight wasn't lost. The dragon is secured.
Bin patiently waiting in these bushes. Siwoo surely knows what's up. He's advancing forward. Bin's getting ready here.
Look at Shun. He's coming down really fast. He's trying to get here to be in range for a Grand Starfall. Ult for ult as it stands. The Rocket Belt in. Looking for another one. There's an Electro Harpoon to the Flash. Siwoo in danger. Flashes in turn.
Flash for flash, you've got to be happy with that. Siwoo stays alive, but a great patient play from Bin there, trying to take out a member of DK, trying to claw back any advantage here. BLG, they've maintained this 6.5k gold lead now for quite some time. DK doing an excellent job.
Was nearly in danger there. Knight over the wall, thought about it. The abscond was used, but the abduct was held. And Lucid gets to put those wards away.
And that's it. Shun still 5-0, hasn't died. Knight hasn't died. Viper hasn't died. The significant, serious damage dealers haven't died. And Shun just picked up a GA. He's never going to die, barring some miraculous mistake coming out of these players here. DK up against it. Vision control coming through around the backside of that Baron pit. They have to know that Baron is a serious objective. If they don't get it soon, in 3 minutes time, it's going to be, do you go for that Baron or do you go for that Soul?
3 items for Knight, 2.5 for Bin, 3 for Shun. The AD carries are at least matched, but this is a difficult position for Dplus Kia with that item discrepancy.
And something of worth note as well, DK have not taken a single turret of BLG's. BLG can push up hard, heavy, and fast.
On court, the unleashed power! ShowMaker scatters on and he is left weak at the knees.
Numbers advantage to DK and they know it. They're going to advance here in this mid lane. There's a 1v1 tussle on that bot side over there, but DK know that they can strike now. Like you said, before those 3 item completions come through, but they're unable to get through the snap trap line of the Caitlyn.
Knight's being collapsed on. He's in a 5v1. Oh no! Arguably the best player in the world right now. So much danger. Goes Golden. Where is the rest of BLG? The Remember down, and Knight in the mid lane is taken out by Smash.
DK are finding the angles. They're finding the ways in. They've cut the gold lead by 2k. They're not able to do anything with it right now, though. They are recalling. Lucid looking to clear the vision. BLG know that the jungler is certainly going to move over there, but they've got the wards. They can see the Baron. They know it's not under threat. They've got time.
Some cracks just beginning to show here, Logan. BLG were 6,000 gold up, but they lose the Dragon. They get picked off a couple members there as they're setting up in the mid lane. It doesn't cost them Baron yet. As On maybe in a dangerous position himself, but does manage to just get out there with a magical journey.
Just wanted to get that ward down, nearly costing him his life. On has been caught twice now. If On keeps doing this, this could be the doorway for DK to get back in. And the more time Siwoo has, the more possible just an ult one-shot combo can take out the damage dealers of BLG here. Bin doing an excellent job of keeping Siwoo in lane though, so he's not able to get out onto the rift and have that impact. We take a look again at those turrets. Every single one of BLG's is still up. That's a lot of standing gold for DK to be able to catch up on if they're able to get them down, but the snaptrap lines prove defensive.
They are 40 seconds on the Soul. 5,000 gold is the advantage. Well, 4.5 now. Let's be fair to Dplus Kia. It's more playable than it was.
Yeah, we did just see a TP coming through from Knight. He's just answering Siwoo on that bot side.
They're looking to get to Siwoo. They're looking to go onto the flank. Siwoo in danger. Between worlds he goes. He's trying to TP out. Knight interrupts. He absconds and he abducts with Siwoo's hope of escape. The blast cone is there, but there's a shield vault. And the Aurora, well, she's rabbit meat. It's rabbit hunting season.
Siwoo trying to get those fancy feet, trying to buy time, but it was such a heads-up play from BLG to 2v1 onto Siwoo in that bot side. They do commit that ult, they do commit that TP, so they lose a little bit of mobility here, but it buys them that numbers advantage at the critical moment. That Drake is up, that Baron is up. BLG have started it, but I love that DK recognize it and they're not going to contest.
The problem is it's now 35 seconds and no teleport on Siwoo in the respawn. This is going to be a 5v4 around the Baron.
Yeah, and this is the intelligent gameplay coming out of BLG. They get the numbers advantage when both objectives are up so that they can take both of them with those serious numbers advantages. Siwoo, 20 seconds left. BLG keeping DK away. They're getting vision control. They're getting priority.
On a flank, looking to potentially catch someone out as Dplus Kia must enter the river, must get past these snap traps somehow, some way. It feels like this is their final moment. They must roll the dice, weight it against them, though it is.
Yeah, weighted against them because of the wallet differential, because of the hand stiff coming through. The equalizer goes down.
It's dangerous, but Lucid chunked out. That's frustrating. That's your jungler. He's tempered fate. He's got no opportunity to get to the Baron. And BLG secure it for free. Knight in the mid lane. Flash away. The stolen between worlds. Viper takes out Lucid. Bingo's golden. Siwoo is here, though. Maybe they can pick up the Rumble, who flashes away. ShowMaker with a shotgun. Scatter. Smash. Shuts down Viper. BLG on retreat. Need to get out. They have the Baron to their name, but Dplus Kia don't go quietly at the end of the fight.
3 members of BLG get away with that Baron buff. It is Knight on the Silas, it is Shun on the Pantheon, and on that Bard, who will still be able to put in the work. They will still be able to siege the base of DK, but DK are still putting up a fantastic fight. That Baron power play, it's negative for BLG right now. Look at this snap trap line. DK cannot get over it. That equalizer, so much zoning, so much spacing coming through from BLG, and they don't even need to kill Lucid, they just need to stop him getting in, and that tempered fate did exactly that. But it's a bonus that they get his ultimate. It's a bonus they get that kill. And here's where DK turns it around. They force Bin to go golden. Scatter the weak is fantastic because Siwoo's able to get over the wall and full combo Bin.
2 for 1, but the Baron to BLG. They will get to respawn. Knight here. Now look at Siwoo. Remember, still got the flash, but no teleport. Shun is here. The TP in from ShowMaker. Looking for the angle. The scout of the week is there, and that puts Shun into a horrible spot. DK down Baron, down 4,000 gold, but still finding picks.
BLG overstepping, BLG getting overly confident here. They lose another Baron-empowered member of their team. They're only down to 2. DK have the numbers advantage here on this top side, and they are looking to drive it home. That is a massive wave. BLG forced to respond. A TP coming in from Bin.
Signs of life from DK, signs of panic from BLG. DK are not giving up easy. They have been so resilient across EWC, and here against one of the very best in the world are not going quietly. They were down 6,000 gold. They've been down Baron, and yet still they refuse to die.
That 6k gold lead cut down to 2. What was previously no turrets, they've picked up 3 of them. DK refused to go down here. They've got that vision control as well through their top side and BLG's top side, so they know what Shun is doing. He's back up in 2 seconds, but there's only 2 Baron-empowered members of BLG. They've been unable to do anything.
Tempers his own fate, it doesn't matter!
He's caught again!
Bin's in danger as well, he gets knocked up. Lucid! 0-3, it doesn't matter! Double for ShowMaker!
DK get 2 members of BLG! There's only 1 Baron-empowered member, which is Knight. They've lost 4,000 gold!
The gold goes down to 1k alone. There is not just blood in the water, it's crimson in truth.
The TP, they're going for it. 5 members of DK are sieging the base of BLG.
The last hope of the LPL in danger of being snuffed out. 3v5 DK can maybe, just maybe do it. The wave clear is there. They'll back away. Inhibitor is there. Gold lead somehow for DK on the retreat now, but BLG, they had it in their hands. This game was theirs. The series was theirs. and they throw it all away.
DK not overstepping. They know the limits. They saw that snap trap. They knew they lost the wave and they had no more pushing power. They will take that recall. DK, after 36 minutes, have found their way back into this game. The gold is negligible. There's no difference here. Drake up in 30 seconds. It could be the Infernal Soul for DK if they're able to secure it. The next Baron, another 2 away. BLG, they have to get control. They have to get vision to prevent this Drake.
They're in the river first, but there are a couple wards here for DK. GA for Smash. GA for Lucid. Nearly full build for Smash, who was right back in it.
Yeah, 223, 400 CS there on that Lucian. Level 17. There's a level advantage for Knight over ShowMaker. Bajun over Lucid, but Siwoo is level 20 over Bin as well. Advantages.
Scatter! They get onto one on left low, but not dead this time. They still manage to get down onto Shun, who is desperately low, 20% HP. And DK maybe again can keep on rolling. Shun will need to reset or find a camp to heal.
Knight's coming down though. It could be a pincer maneuver. He was able to push Siwoo away, who had to recall. The numbers advantage to BLG. They're just delaying. They're buying time for Knight to find a way in.
Trap
the
line is
Drake
there.
less than half.
On trying to keep the way, the jungler. He's gone golden. They need to win the spike fight, and it is won by Shun. The fight after, though, is another seed in finally! The Aurora comes in. Buddy with a gun. Shotguns down Viper. Bin and Knight alone have to hold the hopes of the LPL.
DK!
But it's going through their hands. Water, sand in the hourglass.
DK are doing it! DK are beating BLG, the LPL's #1 team, who came second at MSI 2026. It's 5 versus 1 for another 20 plus seconds.
To the Nexus they go. Bin alone is put in his namesake. The last hope of the LPL snuffed out. Dplus Kia, go forwards.
Parlez-vous Versailles, are you not entertained? EW 2026 last quarter final delivery.